Hey, what's up, guys? My name is Nathan Garland.
And I'm Daryl Flanagan, and we're the group known as Revelation. We got enough support and feedback from our last video that we are going to be talking about churches in America.
Yeah, and so just a disclaimer before we go into this. This is nothing against any, denomination. We're not bad-mouthing anyone. We're not bad-mouthing any churches. It's nothing like that. It's just, what do we think the church has become as a whole overall in today's society? And so, without further ado, I think we're just going to start off with just a straight answer, like what do we think, like a good or bad answer, and then we're going to go into more detail. So for me, I really think it's going downhill in today's America. Mm-hmm. What do you think, Daryl?
I'd have to agree with that.
Yeah, and the reason that I say it's going downhill is because today there's a lot of people that all they care about is the attendance and who all is in there. And they just care about the lights. They care about the scenery. They just care about all the Instagram and Facebook posts. And, actually, Francis Chan wrote a book, and I really encourage you all to read it. I loved it. And it's called Letters to the Church. And basically, all that book is about churches today. And, he's kind of explaining about how it's turned from this whole, we're going to base this off of Jesus. Our goal is to get as many people saved as we can to, are we getting enough posts on Instagram? Are we getting enough likes in here? That's what I think it's become. And I think that's horrible because, especially in today's time, because we talked a little bit about last time about the younger generation kind of tuning out God. And a lot of it has to do with churches today and how they're acting. Like, Daryl, what do you think?
I have to agree with the majority of what you said. Nowadays, instead of the focus being people giving their life to Christ, more churches care about their attendance.
Right.
Like you said, their likes on Instagram. Just always keeping everyone up to date with what they're doing instead of I feel like they're not working enough with the younger generation.
Yeah, I agree with you because, and another thing that I see in churches a lot, I've been kind of exploring different churches these past few months, and a lot of them I walk into, and everybody is in cliques. Like, it's not like you walk in and everybody's like, hey, what's up? We're glad you're here. I've been to a few that it's been that, but the majority overall is that you walk in, maybe two people will say like, hey, but overall it's people in cliques.
Yeah, and it's just not any certain church either. I mean, because I went to small churches that had like 15 people, and no one came up to me. But then I went to a bigger church that had 200, and more people came to me then, and when they were greeting me, they weren't just being selfish,
Yeah, and which in all honesty, you would imagine it'd be vice versa. Yeah. You would think the more there are, the less people would want to talk to you.
Because there'd be more little groups.
Yeah. And it's just the opposite of that, in which that's great. Like, that's good that, the bigger it gets, more people are going to be interested and they're going to come and, talk to you and stuff. But, I'm trying to figure out how I want to word this. But, I really think every church is really important. I really believe that.
Yeah.
And especially with the smaller ones, I really feel like, people diss on them, if that makes sense. They don't really like them just because they're smaller, and just because they're smaller does not mean anything. It would be better
just because they're bigger. It doesn't
that doesn't either. Mean it's a matter of where are you going, that you're getting deeper in your relationship with Christ. That's what the ultimate goal is. And something we're going to touch on just for a minute. And this is like I'm about to say. We talked about in the beginning. We're not dissing on anyone. We're not mad at anybody. We're just talking about overall. Is different denominations today. Nobody has any idea where to go to because people are being told constantly what to believe, why you need to come here. And in all honesty, I really think that today overall, we have forgotten about, Jesus as a whole, and the primary center is Him. I think we focus on, is our denomination getting enough attention? Are we the right denomination? What do you think about that, Daryl?
Nowadays, it is a lot like that because, people ask, am I supposed to be Baptist? Do Methodists go to heaven? Do Baptists go to heaven? In reality, as long as you give your life to Christ and you focus on that and you serve your life giving it to Him. It doesn't matter what denomination it is. It doesn't matter what church you go to. It matters that you live your life for Christ, and whenever you're praising Him at church, that you feel that connection with Him.
Right. In which, like, that is the ultimate goal. Like, it's just about that relationship with Christ. Like, there's not one denomination better than the other. And in fact, there's a lot of churches, they're not even a denomination because they don't, there's just so much political, it's like a big political game in today's society with it because it's just who's getting more attention. And, you know, I really think we need to change that. Like, I really think we need to change it. And, you know, some people will tell us, you know, they'll say, you know, there's just no change it because of today. I mean, look at what Paul did, who was Saul in Romans and Acts, like really Acts because that's where it all kicked off. But really, like, you got to look at that. Like, look at this dude. Mm-hmm. There was not any churches, and he started them all and built what we look at today. Just one man, because he said, we need this change. Like, that's what we need to do is to bring back Jesus into the church. Like, that's what it is.
Yeah, the sole purpose needs to be Jesus. It doesn't need to be attendance. It doesn't need to be worrying about posting a new update on Facebook or Instagram or, you know, doing all sorts of that things. All it matters is Jesus.
Yeah. And so something that I'm going to talk about just for a second, and I think this is where it's going to get a little, you know, people are going to debate right here, in which that's good. We really encourage you all to tell us, what do you think down below? We love seeing that stuff. And so a lot of people today, and I've heard personally, a lot of people even believe today that you don't need to go to church. And I've even had people ask me, do I really need to go to church? And, you know, that's really such a hard question because, like, you know, there's nowhere in the Bible that says straight up you need to go in order to be saved. Like, Jesus never went to church.
Yeah, he was out
doing his ministry. I mean, the only ones that went to church was anybody from Paul forward. That's the people that went. And, you know, to me personally, I think that you should go. I mean, I don't think it's, you know, that's not going to get you into heaven by all means. You know, because there's a lot of people in church today that, you know, just come for the attention and then, you know, I hate saying this, like when they die, like they'll go to hell because they didn't believe they didn't believe in Jesus. They were just there for the attention. But, you know, it's going to be a lot harder for you to go out into the world on your own without going somewhere to kind of like get your faith in store, keep it on track. Like, that's what I personally believe.
Yeah. What I believe is I do think you do need to go to church. Just for newer Christians especially, just to start your foundation with Christ, you know, and then, you know, doing stuff around church, helping out at church, and then, you know, like just working your way up, knowing like how to serve God, what you need to do, you know, and then I think after that, then once like, you know, Jesus is your Lord and Savior, and then after you've helped out at the church and you feel like comfortable that you 100% know what you're talking about, you can go out and like do what they do.
Yeah. And, like, I mean, I really do encourage you all to, like, if you're not involved in your church, to really get involved. And I know you may be sitting there and you're like, you know, like, what am I supposed to do? Well, you know, I can't answer that because I don't know where you go and I don't know what's offered there. But, I mean, even if it was the simplest things in the world, like just holding the door open, like, that means that's considered servant. That's what Jesus wants us to do, is to be the hands and feet for him.
You don't have to do anything major to make a change.
You don't have to be a preacher in order to, you know, reach out to, like, you don't. And I think that's another issue, is that a lot of people believe you have to be a preacher or some kind of, you know, high valued person like that in order to do this kind of, like, that's not what it is at all. But, you know, I think that's going to wrap it up. Daryl, do you have anything else you want to say?
I don't, actually. Just no matter where you go, as long as you feel the Holy Spirit, don't judge other people for where they go.
No, don't judge at all.
And I feel like we can still make a change, but that change starts whenever we put Jesus in the center.
Right. And like that's the ultimate end run, is like that's how you're going to get anywhere. It's because he's in the center of it. And he's the only reason that anything happens today. Like that's how we're sitting here doing this right now. And so, you know, now that we're going to close this out, we really do want to just do a friendly reminder. Comment down below. What do you think? Share. Tell others about this. Shoot us a message if you have any ideas, topics, questions. And without further ado, we'll see you next time.
See you all.